They did all sorts of genetic testing and came back completely inconclusive. It was a roller coaster.
I was privileged to meet Mariah and her two daughters, Emma and Abby, who live with the same ultra-rare genetic condition called THAP12 mutation.
It's actually kind of crazy. In fact, at this point, they're the only two known people in the world to have their specific genetic condition.
THAP12 presents primarily as seizures.
Emma has them a bit more severely. She has seizures every day, multiple times a day. But thanks to what we learned with Emma during her initial treatment for those seizures, we found what worked well, what didn't work well. And when Abby was diagnosed, we were able to apply those learnings, and Abby's seizures are much more controlled.
Both have severe developmental disabilities. Neither can hold their heads up, use their limbs purposefully, walk, or talk.
Both of them are fed through a tube into their stomach, and they both have some vision issues, and applying their hearing and their vision and their senses is difficult for them. They definitely have extreme disabilities, and their life can be really hard sometimes, but they have the most beautiful smiles, and when we walk into the room and look at them, I can sense how happy they are.
Emma is the oldest. Mariah found out that she had a disability after she was born.
My pregnancy and birth with Emma was so perfect, and I have such amazing memories of that time. And we brought home our newborn little girl, just expecting the world to be perfect and life to be magical. And then about 3 months old, we saw Emma turning blue periodically. And as a new mom, I had no idea what that was. Obviously, it wasn't good. And then right around the same time, she also started doing these little crunching movements where she would crunch her whole body forward.
They took her to the hospital via ambulance due to her being blue and not breathing.
I think anticipated everything was just going to be fine because there was no way anything was going to be really wrong. But they hooked her up to an EEG, did all these tests on her, and the next morning, a whole group of doctors walked in with these really sullen faces and sat me down and told us that she was having seizures. 2 kinds of seizures, actually. Focal ones, which were causing her to stop breathing, but also something called infantile spasms, which are a catastrophic form of pediatric epilepsy. Basically, the brain is so chaotic that it can't learn and develop.
They tried treatments with Emma that were severe and caused scary side effects.
I can't put into words. It was heartbreaking, and I was so scared, and I was looking at my little baby and feeling completely helpless. There was nothing I could do to help her, and I didn't know what her future was going to look like. There was a range of options that they said, she could the seizures could resolve and she could have a relatively normal life, or it could be severe and she could never walk or talk again. And I had no idea what that looked like. And, we kept trying new medications and would get a moment of control. And so I would think, okay, this is it, she's going to be fine. And then the seizures would hit again. And it was, heartbreak and devastation all over again. It was a roller coaster. Since then, we've tried every medication under the sun and have struggled to get control of them. And so that's why she still struggles with her seizures daily. They did all sorts of genetic testing and came back completely inconclusive. They could find nothing genetically wrong and, told us we don't know what's causing this, but likely it's just some mutation that happened in Emma during pregnancy or early development, and it was probably just a fluke.
Because the doctors gave them good odds for future pregnancy, Mariah and Mark felt comfortable in having another child, so Abby was born.
Abby came along, and it was right around that same time, about 3 months old, that she started having those little crunching movements. And I remember seeing her eyes roll and my heart stopping. We did the very scary drive back to the hospital and faced again the emergency room and the tests and the EEG, and it was kind of the same process. The next morning, doctors walked in, and my husband always says he knew by the looks on their face before they said a word that they were about to hand us our second diagnosis day. And sure enough, they said it's infantile spasms again. And at that point, we knew it had to be genetic. There was no way this was a coincidence that it happened twice.
They then did more extensive genetic testing, and after they compared Abby's, Emma's, Mariah's, and Mark's genetic profile, the doctors were able to isolate the gene.
The only reason we were able to find it is because we have both Emma and Abby. So it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise that Abby came along and unfortunately is living with the same disease. But because of that, we were able to isolate the gene, and now we're pursuing treatments for the genetic condition to help both of the girls. It was probably when Abby was maybe a year old that we finally got this genetic diagnosis, a gene called THAP12, that there is basically no research on it and no understanding of what that genetic condition will look like in the future. It's brand new and we're paving the way. We are climbing a really tall mountain to try to figure out what's going on and what we can do to help at the genetic level.
Having Emma before Abby made the diagnosis process easier and harder.
When we had Abby, I think we were in shock because I don't think we ever imagined it could happen a second time. And I immediately fell back into that really painful place. It was really hard to picture our life because we knew at that point how hard it was for Emma. And thinking of another child having to go through that was really heartbreaking. But I think having Abby kind of lit a fire under my butt, like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. Now we have more evidence and more proof, and we have more understanding now, so we're gonna figure it out. So I didn't sit in that heartbroken space for as long.
Because their journey is so unique, they believe in being open and sharing their learning to be a support for other people.
We needed to talk about it. We needed to be open with people about it and really connect with other people that were going through difficult journeys, because we're so familiar with that difficult journey. And I think by being open and talking with other people, we can share in our journey and share in our learning and also be support for other people. I know that when I was going through the early stages with Emma and then again with Abby, reaching out to other people that had been through it was my biggest support. That was really what got me through, was being able to talk with people that understood it. And I wanted to be that for other people.
Mariah believes there are other people out there who have this same diagnosis and don't know about it.
As I mentioned, it took having both Emma and Abby to even discover it. And so people that, may have it in a family, but they don't necessarily have a sibling, doctors don't even know to look for it. So they may be doing genetic testing and they just don't know to look for THAP12 because it's not recognized as a disease-causing gene. And so some of our big advocacy efforts with our girls and our foundation is to raise awareness for THAP12 so that we can hopefully find more people that are living with this disease and they just don't know it yet. They're still living in that undiagnosed gray area. Because, without Abby, Emma would still be there. Emma would still be undiagnosed and living with a disease that we didn't know the origins of. So I think there's people out there. I just think Emma and Abby are, case 1 and 2. They're the ones to really discover the disease. I believe in their lifetime, and I really hope sooner than later we'll find more patients that we can work together with to figure this disease out.
Their extended family's reactions were very supportive.
My mom is here every day helping with the girls. She went to school to become a certified nursing assistant to take care of the girls, and she's been a huge lifeline for us. Dad is here all the time helping out when he can and running errands for us and being an amazing support. My in-laws live a few hours away and they're here visiting when they can and helping out in every way they can. Everybody's really rallied behind us.
It took a while for Mariah and Mark to be around friends with healthy kids. It was painful to see them in comparison.
The farther along our journey we get, the more I recognize that we're just on a different journey and it just looks a little different, not better, not worse, just different. And it's become really amazing to be around other kiddos that, they see Emma and Abby and they ask questions and they're so curious about the different things, her feeding tube, and it's really cool to get to teach them about a different kind of kiddo and a different journey in life and let them see that and see these kiddos around Emma and Abby wanting to play with them and wanting to show them things and bring them things and helping when they can't turn pages or they can't, reach out for a toy. It's really amazing to see the kindness in kiddos' hearts. And so we really enjoy now going to spend time with friends that have kids, similar in age and getting to be around big groups of people, and really feeling that support from our community has been amazing.
Mariah tells us about the difficulties. The daily struggles are many.
The girls will always need 24/7 care, and I struggle a lot with thinking about the future. When I'm not here, what will their life look like? And then even harder that I think a lot of parents struggle with is what happens if they leave before I do.
When people ask about the girls, Mariah tries to spin their situation in a positive way.
Not so that people, don't pity us, but just because I want people to see the girls as happy beings. I want them to really see the good and know that their lives are beautiful. What gets us through the struggles is all the little joys that come out. I think having medically complex and disabled children really brings to light the simple things in life and how beautiful something so simple can really be. And so, her little coos bring me so much joy. Abby's smiles, she'll be laying in her crib and I'll walk over and look at her and a big smile will come across her face. Or Emma, when she plays baseball on the weekends, just seeing the other kids with her and how kind they are to her and how much they're learning from her and about her really just brings so much joy to my life. I love that. And at the end of the day, it's not an easy life. I can't sugarcoat it, but we're a really happy family. And my girls just completely fill my heart, and every little thing about them, despite the struggles, it's a really beautiful, beautiful thing. I think I had to give advice, especially to newly diagnosed families, is to be kind to yourself and to give yourself the time to grieve and not to beat yourself up for some of the, negative thoughts that you feel, because it's a hard situation and you're allowed to be angry and you're allowed to be scared and, hate the world for a little while, because it sucks. It's not fun to be thrown into such a difficult situation, but throughout all of it, to know that it will get better and to know that your child's life has such amazing meaning and such importance, and that the journey may look very different, but it doesn't mean it's any less. It doesn't mean you're any less of a parent or any less deserving of the life that you want and the life that your child deserves, and that it does get better and you learn a new kind of normal. It's hard, but I think you become a stronger person. So keeping in mind throughout the difficulties that you're gonna become so strong, and your child is gonna teach you so much about life that you wouldn't otherwise know.
Help us make more Orange Socks videos by clicking below to subscribe. And make sure you hit the bell so you never miss an Orange Socks video. You can also find more of our videos here. Thanks for watching.